The alarm screamed like a dying star. Jax's chronosuit flickered, glitching as time around him fractured. A skyscraper outside folded into itself, vanishing in a silent implosion. A flock of pigeons froze mid-flight, their forms crystallizing into fragile glass before shattering against a wind that had yet to exist. The world wasn't just breaking, it was rewriting itself, erasing history 1 second at a time. His calm spat static, then a voice, warped and haunting. "You're too late, Agent. Time always wins." Jax gritted his teeth, flipping open his ARM console. The holographic display flickered erratically as countdown sequences appeared in red. 6 minutes and 12 seconds. 6 minutes left before the collapse became irreversible. He pressed his palm to the Chronos Key strapped to his belt, feeling the device pulse with unnatural energy. His fingers twitched. He had already used it too many times. Each activation chipped away at his own timeline, eroding his memories, his past, himself. A static-laced whisper slithered through his earpiece. "Jax, fix it." His heart lurched. He knew that voice. Anya. The image of his sister flickered in his mind, her laughter now just a distorted echo. She had been erased in a previous rift, gone, like she had never existed. But Jax remembered. Or at least, he thought he did. Each time he used the key, pieces of her, of their childhood, of his own life, slipped away. He yanked his hood over his head, bracing himself. The rift pulsed at the center of the city, a spiraling vortex of shattered time, its tendrils lashing out like the hands of a dying god. He had one shot at stopping it. One chance to undo everything before reality collapsed. And that meant facing him. The figure emerged from the rift, clad in a suit identical to Jax's, but warped. Cracks ran along its surface like fractures in time itself, shifting as though the man wearing it existed in multiple realities at once. His helmet's visor split open, revealing a face Jax knew all too well. It was his own. A twisted, future version of himself, corrupted by the key's power. "Chronos. You think you can fight fate?" Chronos sneered, his voice layered with echoes of 1,000 futures. "You don't win this fight, Jax. You become me." Jax tightened his grip on the key. "Not if I stop you first." The city trembled as time fractured further. A street lamp blinked between centuries, gaslit 1 second, neon the next, then rusted to decay. Somewhere, a child's laughter warped into an old man's cough. Chronos extended his hand, and time around him bent. Jax felt his body wrench forward, his molecules twisting as past and future collapsed around him. He hit the ground hard, rolling across the pavement as the world flickered in and out of focus. Chronos loomed over him, eyes glowing with an unnatural light. "You've used the key too many times, Jax. You feel it, don't you? The memories slipping away. Tell me, what was your mother's name?" Jax's breath caught. He tried to answer, but the words wouldn't come. Chronos smiled. "That's what I thought." Rage surged through Jax. He launched himself forward, activating the key mid-strike. Time bent around his fist as he hit Chronos, once, twice, 100 times in a second. Each punch landed across different points in time, shifting Chronos' body between past and future wounds. But Chronos only laughed. "You're already losing yourself." Jax staggered back. His vision swam, his own hands flickered, transparent for a brief moment. The key's cost was catching up. He could feel entire years missing from his mind, memories disintegrating like sand slipping through fingers. His sister's face blurred. What color were her eyes? Jax clenched his teeth, pressing the key against his chest. He had one move left. One final gambit. The rift screamed, pulling in debris, distorting space as it expanded. If Jax didn't act now, there wouldn't be anything left to save. Chronos stepped closer. "You don't have the strength, Jax. One more use of the key, and you're gone. You'll forget who you are, what you're fighting for." Jax exhaled slowly. Maybe that was the price. With a final desperate move, he turned and leaped, straight into the heart of the rift. Time shattered around him. Memories unraveled like broken film reels. His first mission. The laughter of his team. A birthday he barely remembered. Anya, standing in a sunlit field, reaching for him. The key burned in his grip as he rewrote reality. Jax hit the ground, gasping. The city was whole. The fractures in time were gone. The air was still. He forced himself to his feet, clutching his head. His memories, what was left of them, felt distant, like echoes of a life not quite his own. He looked around, expecting Chronos, expecting chaos. But something was wrong. His earpiece crackled. "Agent Jax, respond." He hesitated. The voice was unfamiliar. He turned toward the headquarters he had known his whole life. But the banners were different. The emblem was wrong. And the people passing by, they didn't look at him. Like they didn't recognize him. A holographic screen buzzed to life beside him. Breaking news. Chronos wins Historian of the Year award. Jax's blood ran cold. The key hummed softly at his side. He lifted it, hesitating. Then his fingers brushed against something else, something familiar. His locket. He clicked it open. It was empty. No picture. No proof of the sister he had fought so hard to save. Jax swallowed hard. He had stopped the collapse, saved the world. But at what cost? As the city moved around him, oblivious to the man who had rewritten time to save them, Jax clenched his fists. This wasn't over. Time always took. But now, he was ready to take back.